Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. Delighted to be joined by Owen McKendry. We're once again in preview mode. No Elliot Grigg this week. Owen in again, but Elliot will be back. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry. But yeah, after last week's superb preview with Owen about the Adam Azim fight, we've kept him on for the Catterall Prograis, which is what this video is based around. Before we get stuck into that, please do drop us a like on this video. Let us know in the comments your thoughts of what we're about to discuss. And yeah, please do subscribe to the channel. There should be a little icon in the corner of this video which will kind of point you in the right direction to subscribing. So, without further ado, Owen, we are here to discuss the fight at the Co-op Live Arena in Manchester, 26th of October. Jack Catterall facing Regis Prograis. No world title or anything on the line, but another massive, massive big name for a massive fight between two big names. Former world champion Regis Prograis, obviously, and then you've got Jack Catterall, who's coming in off that win finally over Josh Taylor in their rematch. Before we get into the predictions and actually talking more so about this in actual fight, Owen, I do want to ask you a couple of questions about the division as a whole and maybe each fighter separately. First and foremost, do you think Jack Catterall could be the best 140-pound fighter in the world right now?
Um, it's a really tough division to call, to be honest. There's some fighters, and Leon Paro has come in with an incredible win as the away fighter. Obviously Jack Catterall's got the win over Josh Taylor. Should have had two. I don't think anyone knows what Teofimo Lopez is doing. Is he active? Is he not? Does he want to stay in boxing? Does he want to retire? I think if I knew full well what Teofimo Lopez was going to be doing, what division he was going to be fighting in, I'd probably say him. Technically the best, but I think at the moment you'd have to probably say Jack Catterall is the best in the division. Devin Haney, is he going to move weights again? Who knows? You've got Richardson Hitchens coming on the scene. He looks very, very good as he's stepping up in opposition. But I think it wouldn't be unfair to say Jack Catterall is the best in the division. There's a lot of names, but there's a lot of questions, and he's probably the only fighter in the division who hasn't really got a question over him at the moment.
Yeah, mate, I think there's definitely a case can be made towards Jack Catterall being the best in the division. I wouldn't just sit and disagree and argue the nth degree with anyone that does believe that. I would struggle to pinpoint and say he's definitely the best. I have him in the top three. I think Devin Haney you still have to have up there, even though obviously we know what happened in the Ryan Garcia fight. It'll be interesting to actually see how Devin Haney looks and isn't it when he does eventually come back, whether there'll be any scars there, so to speak, from that Ryan Garcia fight, even though, I don't know, has the decision been overturned or whatever. I'm not 100% sure, but I think you've got to have him up there just on pedigree and kind of what he's achieved so far. And yeah, as you mentioned, Teofimo Lopez on his best day could be number one, but we've seen him underperform so many times that against fighters who you're really expected him to beat and win well against. So yeah, I mean, it remains to be seen. He's definitely up there, top three, four, 100%. Jack Catterall, I do agree, mate. But yeah, whether he's number one or not, I think hopefully time tells in the next 12 to 18 months. Those names that we mentioned there, mate, they're kind of those the Haney, Lopez. You mentioned Liam Paro, Hitchens. All of these guys. Who do you, how do you think Jack Catterall will get on against each of them? If you don't have to tell me how, as in, you don't have to tell me a method of victory. But if I was to go through, do you think he beats Devin Haney?
No.
Do you think he beats Teofimo Lopez?
At present, if he had to put a gun to my head today, if they fought on Saturday, yep.
Interesting, very interesting. Again, as we mentioned, it really depends on what Teofimo Lopez kind of turns up. Liam Paro.
Yes, I'd very, very hesitantly say yes because Leon Paro looked unbelievable last time out, but based off what I've seen of them both, very, very hesitant. Yes.
Yeah, he did look unreal against Subriel Matthias, who was people were kind of banging on who I could be the best in the division. So yeah, that remains to be seen. What about yeah, I mean, we could probably go on and say about a load of other names, but I mean, it's just interesting to see. Hopefully, these fights happen more or less. That's kind of what we're saying here. I'd rather sit and watch these fights rather than me and you sitting discussing hypothetical situations. So hopefully, all of the above fights that we have mentioned can get made, and will get made in the coming months and years. Just before we come to predictions, mate, I do kind of want to ask you And I do hate to ask this question, but on the channel we do call it going full McKendry. Where if we're talking about retirement, not saying that he should retire, but do you believe that Regis Prograis passed his best?
Yeah, I would say he's past his best. I think he's a massive name for Jack Catterall to have on his CV. Um, if he does win at the Mount Carp Live Arena, sorry. Um, is it harsh to say he should retire? It's a difficult one because I still think Prograis has got something to give. I thought Haney won quite comfortably, but he hasn't. He's only lost to sort of Devin Haney and Josh Taylor. So I think it'd be harsh to sort of say, if he loses to Jack Catterall to hang him up. But I think Jack Catterall's definitely getting Regis Prograis at the right time. But it depends how he loses, to be honest. If Jack Catterall schools him and wins pretty much every round, then I would say possibly hang them up. He fought three guys at the top of the division and lost to those at the top. So yeah, I don't think it's too harsh to say retirement, but I think Jack Catterall has 100% got Prograis on the slide, but it's still a huge name to have on his record.
Yeah, I think it all depends on how they look in the 26th of October. Say Catterall does win, and Prograis just kind of looks like a former Prograis, a shadow of his former self. Then maybe yeah, maybe it is time to call it a day. I don't think there's any. I don't disagree with you. I think he is past his best, but that's not to say that he's still not a world class fighter. Because at one time, we could have argued that he was number one. That fight against Josh Taylor in the World Boxing Super Series was so close as well. Even some people did even give it to Progress, so it was extremely close. And then obviously Devin Haney. You're talking about kind of an elite fighter, really. With Devin Haney, especially the run he went on up before the Ryan Garcia fight. It was an incredible run. So yeah, I think it's on the slide. Yes, past his best. Yes, but should he retire? It all depends, mate. He could come out here and beat Jack Catterall for all we know. Like it would not surprise me in the slightest. Um, but if he gets beaten badly and looks a bit slow and kind of like an old man in there, what is there left to give? I suppose where you kind of look at it from that perspective. It is prediction time, mate. How do you think this goes down? Jack Catterall, Regis Prograis on October 26th at the Co-op Live Arena in Manchester.
I think Jack Catterall on points. I don't think it's going to be a landslide, to be honest. Maybe like a 1-1-5, 1-1-3, maybe a round or two either side of that. I think, like I say, Jack Catterall's got him at a good time. If Jack Catterall stopped him, I would be unbelievably shocked. Regis Prograis been in with, he went in with pretty much a prime Zepeda, who was a bit of a knockout artist at the time. He's been in with Josh Taylor. I don't think anyone's going to stop him. And Jack Catterall's definitely not going to stop him. If he does, that's an almighty statement and a half. So I think, yeah, comfortable-ish points decision for Jack Catterall. I think Regis Prograis is definitely going to come to fight and win some rounds, but I think Catterall will do just enough to see it out.
Yeah, I completely agree. We're in total agreement there. I think Catterall wins on points, wins well enough that there's no controversy or anything. We kind of know who's won, but I don't think for a second it's going to be a 12-0 or 11-1 or a 10-2 even. Maybe an 8-4 or something, but there's a kind of resounding winner there. That's how I probably see this fight going in favor of El Gato as well, mate. So yeah, we're in total agreement there. Guys, if you're watching this video, please do let us know your thoughts on this fight. Are you going against Owen and I? Do you maybe think Regis Prograis can pull this off and people are maybe sleeping on him still? Do you think Jack Catterall is the best super lightweight in the world? How would he fare against all those names that we mentioned, or who is the best 140-pounder in the world? Let us know your thoughts on all of that. As always, please subscribe to the channel as well. We've got you covered with all our boxing content, whether it's previews, reviews, big fight breakdowns, betting tips, final predictions, interviews with fighters, and so on and so forth. We've got you covered and all of your boxing needs under one roof. Owen, thanks very much for joining me, as always, mate, and I'll speak to you again soon.